What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show for dads, fathers, and male caregivers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And being part of that team, we've reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. And as always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. And, I have to do something. I have to do something before what happens. Ryan Knight is here for the full show again. So I don't think he's here yet. But when Food Plane comes in, I'm going to tell him that. So,
Yes.
What's up, Ryan?
Hey, things are good. Always good to see you. For those that are getting used to Ryan being engaged and don't remember who I am, or maybe it's your first time checking out the show, my name is Ryan Knight, one of the co-founders of the Afro Caribbean Business Network, and also the founder of Detailing Nights, a mobile waterless car cleaning service that comes to your house or to your office, cleans your car on the spot without using water, and our plant-based eco-friendly cleaning supplies. We are excited to announce we're actually doing a partnership with one of the parking garages downtown Toronto.
Oh,
If you know of the Well, we've been working with them to have a parking space down there, which used to be the Globe and Mail building, I believe, and now it's like a pretty cool building. It used to be just a parking lot, actually, if people remember the $5 parking that used to be at Spadina.
hold on. How much?
$5 at
When was
Spadina in
that?
front. That was the secret spot, and then you'd walk all the way down to Skydome or Rogers Center. So we're working there, and yeah, our student program that we've been doing, the youth entrepreneurship program, final training is today and tomorrow, and then we have an event on Sunday. So for those that are in Ajax or willing to drive out to Ajax,
Yeah, willing.
yeah,
No, Ajax isn't bad. I think it's getting
right.
out of downtown to Ajax, or if
Oh
you're
yeah,
coming from the Northwest Territories, aka Brampton, or the West Coast, Mississauga, coming across the 401.
that's why the 407's got to be your friend, man. If you're the
You,
401 can be hit or miss, and
well,
mostly
okay,
misses.
if you're a business owner, the 407's your friend.
Yes,
But if
it's
you're not a business owner, you know what's good? I just want to chat. Will we ever see the day that the 407 becomes free?
I I don't it would defeat the purpose because that's what keeps it clear. I think if it just becomes free, it's going to become another 401 unless they create another alternative location or this tunnel under the 401 gets built.
Oh my gosh. Did you hear the premier the other day? He says they're looking at 3 tunnels all across the
Hey,
401.
put
I'm
10,
going,
put how
who's
many
paying,
as you want.
who's paying for this?
That would be He'd have to be in power for like 100 years to get, because the next government that comes in is gonna kill that so quick. We're like, nah, we're not digging under the 401. You might as well put a bridge above the 401 and just like building above it would be cheaper than trying to drill underneath the entire 401. But who's to
Uh,
say?
uh,
And sorry, I was saying the
go ahead.
event on Sunday is in a car wash fundraiser for the Durham Community Action Group. So shout out to Gloria and Sandra. So we're going to be at the location, which is we're renting an office space there now. So in Ajax, that's I'll say our east location. And in the parking lot, we're going to be doing the car wash fundraiser to raise some money for their food bank because they have quite an excellent food bank at that location. So also, if you know people that need some food, send them on Sunday. Well, any day during the week, or I think they have specific days, but yeah, they have a great food bank there.
I love the hook that you put in there because it's relevant to the conversation we're going to go a deep dive into in a few moments. What's been going on since we last saw each other?
Yeah, doing the training each evening. We've been working with the young entrepreneurs to pull out that they have the potential to start a business. It's amazing seeing them show up because there's one of our slides that I created that talks about going from the comfort zone through the fear zone into the learning zone, and then that's where you get into the growth zone. So the fear zone is where you create all those excuses that keep you from going into the learning zone and growing, because it makes you retreat back to the comfort zone. So the fact that they show up and they're engaged, and we've had some great speakers like our business coach Naomi, Chris Beth, the marketing who's the guru or marketing diva, not diva, diva's not good. Yeah, marketing expert, and also, oh, who's the other speaker? Oh, Charmaine. Yes, Charmaine Hussey. She led the networking event yesterday. So yeah,
The first lady of ACBN.
so I loved it.
Yeah, good
Also,
stuff.
Melissa Cadigan, who's the franchise expert that's been helping me structure detailing nights with our franchising journey. She was one of our guest speakers during the week as well.
So a few things. Are you home this evening? And there's a reason why I'm asking.
Christian does have baseball, so but
Okay.
I'm home-ish. I
What
think
time?
that's an
What time
hour.
do you get back from baseball?
I think that's 8.
If you're at home,
Hmm.
I'd love you to check out The Fixer.
Okay, which station is it on?
Do you get Fox?
Yes, I am
The
able
only
to.
reason I watch Fox is that reason.
And it's at what time? 8?
It goes from 8 till 10.
2 hours. Okay.
Yeah, so the first
That's
hour you look,
serious.
I really, if you get a chance, even when you watch a few minutes, I'd love to get your feedback when we come on Monday. But because I know, again, Marcus Simonis. Now it's interesting because for those people who may or may not know, Marcus Simonis owns a company called Camping World, which is a big franchise thing for campers in the U.S. A few years ago, he started a program, a reality program, where he goes in and checks out entrepreneurs and see if he wants to work with them or not. And I remember I introduced to Ryan, who says, I love this show. And it lasted a few years. Now, something interesting I found out, he got sued by a number of the businesses.
Wow, that's wild.
And it ended up between him, the production company, and CNBC was the broadcast. They shelled out about $11 million.
Wow, that'd be interesting to see
I'll
what they
send
sued
I'll send the
for.
story to you.
Yeah,
But he's
because
back on now, investing in businesses again. And I know you love the entrepreneurial thing, so definitely if you can get a
I'm
chance to
gonna
check
put
that
it in
out.
the PVR thing, so even if I miss it,
Yeah, if you can,
I
I'd love to get your takes on it. So that's fantastic. And another, so I was doing some casual listening since I'm not 100%, so I'm not out and about. I'm not even out about that much, anyways. Do you? Here's an interesting fact: people may not realize 70% of the hotels in America are owned by an Indian family.
70%. That sounds astronomically high.
It's true though.
So it's like all the different brands, like it's kind of all owned under one thing.
I'm just gonna look. I was listening to someone yesterday talking about it. I'm gonna just see if I can go online and just give a little. And I found that phenomenal.
That is amazing. Yeah.
Uh, and the funny thing is, so one of the things that they did when they started out,
Hmm.
yeah, here we go, here we go, here we go. The company, the name of the company is called the Patel family.
Okay.
For decades, the name Patel has been synonymous with the American motel industry in cities along highways. So maybe it's motels from modest roadside inns to mid-tier hotels.
God,
So yeah, they own 70, let's say maybe 70% of the motels in all of America.
that's wow. Yeah, that's still quite amazing.
Like things like Motel 6.
Right, right, right. Yes.
So yeah, according to the Asian American Hotel Owners Association, nearly 70% of all Indian American owned hotels are owned by the Patels. It's estimated that over half the country's budget motels are run by Indian Americans.
Okay.
The
And you
vast
see they
majority
have
of whom trace their ancestry to the Gurjat.
an Indian American Hotel Ownership Association. Let that. There's also what was interesting that I found, a Korean Association of Convenience Store Owners. And so you might wonder why so many Koreans run convenience stores and corner shops, because when they move here, this association actually helps them get set up.
Yep.
So when you talk about economic empowerment, this is what we have to start looking at. How do we create these associations that help business owners either get into franchises, or there's structure to how that happens. Like, you don't just own 50% of motels or 70% by accident. Like, it's actually structured and designed.
It's really interesting. And a little about their story. When they first started,
Mhm.
they wouldn't hire people to work in the hotels.
Okay.
They did it themselves.
Wow.
Cut the cost. And what they would do is they wouldn't go out and live somewhere else. They would live in one of the rooms in the hotel.
Right. Humble beginnings, man.
Family
Humble.
economics.
Yes.
Family economics. I thought hearing that story, it was just like, I went, that's how we do it. And I actually heard an interesting quote the other day too. What do you think about this one? A
Mm.
gentleman who you and I know, I'm not going to pronounce his name out here, said, many black people are not broke, they're broken.
Okay, that sounds like something Dr. George Fraser would say.
Right?
But
They
yeah,
are
man.
broke, but not broken. What do you think about that quote?
If we're talking about like the trauma that is keeping people from maybe achieving what they're capable of, I could see that resonating. But I would say broke and broken. Like, a lot of people are struggling, and there's no buffer. Either they're working check to check each week, or their business is just trying to survive each week. So you can call that broke. You can call it, is it we're broke because we're broken? But hey, we have to be able to break through and get some buffer, get some
All right.
wins.
All right. So there are a whale of comments, but I'm not going to get to them after we'll go to the break, and then we're going to go do homework. Then we're going to do we're going to do comments because we're already falling behind on comments. So, and by the way, Ryan's here for the whole show today. So you
Yes.
see, he's got a buffer though today because there's a guest. But all right, so let's go to break. When we come back for break, we'll do the housework, comments, then our special friend. So let's go to break. What is up, everybody? It is Dr. This is Primetime Saturday with Aisha and Lala.
It feels like every 10 years we find ourselves trying to venture into some kind of war.
He continues to get away with absolutely everything. And when that happens, that limits our power as well.
He shouldn't be able to do this without asking Congress.
I have to catch my breath.
All right. Prime Time Saturday is going to be on tomorrow, as it is on every Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific Time. Aisha K. Staggers, Laura Lala Key. Tomorrow we'll have a special guest replacing Aisha. Aisha has some family stuff to do. We have the one and only Dr. Tachi coming in tomorrow afternoon with us. So please check that out. All right. Absolutely. Big round of applause for Dr. Tachi. All right, let's get to some housework, then comments, then our friend. All right, subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Substack. And just before we go further, if you haven't subscribed yet on YouTube, please tell someone to subscribe if they're up to it. If you haven't, subscribe, tell other people about it, thumbs up the conversations, etc., etc. Join the Morning Vibe Discord group. Email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com, or click on the link. Also, to advertise your business, service, or product on any of the platforms I'm on, email me. Then we have Indie Soup Media. Of course, Indie Soup Media. The driven by the one and only Dr. Tache instead of Target, Tache. Independent content creators platform on YouTube, probably about 18 months now. They're getting around 28,000. I have to give a more accurate number when we come back on Monday. I've got to represent Dr. Tachi properly. A lot of these conversations and a lot of conversations that I'm a part of are on that platform. Let's do comments. Then we're gonna get our friend. It's already a wild morning. So let's start off. Good morning. Minnie St. Clair says good morning. Good morning, JG Mars. Hope you're doing okay, JG Mars. I know you're doing better than your country. He lives in US. Minnie St. Clair says travel lodge. That makes sense. And Holiday Inn, talking about the Patel family. JG Mars. Indian people in the US have recently been moving up into trickling the freight industry. Well, they are up here already. If you see, if you come up to the Greater Toronto area, you look at a lot of the transport truck drivers, South Asian.
Okay.
South Asian. All right, Derek T. Tuggle, good to see you this morning. You're in early. I'm not surprised, but Office of Tim Frey's here. Good
Right.
morning, Mr.
Yes.
Tim Frey. Hope you're doing all right. Minnie St. Clair says Indian family also started Chippendales. I didn't know that. Interesting.
Okay.
Minnie says we don't heal, we push it done. Yeah, I somewhat agree with that, but the pushing is done with a lot of extra and unnecessary effort, and it wears on you.
Right.
Here we go. Derek says Indians own most of the mom and pop and liquor stores in Chicago. What?
Okay.
They do own the shady motels here in Los Angeles.
Gotcha. Right.
All right. Frequency Event Potion says good day, vibe, and night.
Yes.
All right.
Use that hashtag. I've been
All
like,
right. We are okay. Comments are done. Fantastic. Ryan, I'm going to let you introduce our friend.
absolutely. And it's with great honor because our guest today was actually one of the initial supporters at day one of ACBN, the Afro Caribbean Business Network. So from 8 years ago, I had the pleasure of getting to meet Anick Silencieux at our event. And then during that time, learning about her passion to support other Black charities. And she actually created an entire organization called Supporting Black Charities that is, I would say, the node that connects a lot of the great work that these organizations are doing. And something that I mentioned earlier, these hotels, motels, Korean convenience stores, they all connect because of an association that was created. So I feel what Anick has built with supporting Black charities is that type of association that now connects all the great work that is going on in Black organizations and charities and nonprofits. All that to say, she's now taken on the daunting task of eliminating food insecurity in our communities and abroad or beyond. And so now this food security fund that is a part of their portfolio is what we wanted to talk to today. So we asked her, can you come on to talk about this? Because we saw City TV got access to an interview with our wonderful guest. So please join me in welcoming on the Morning Vibe, Anick Silencieux, the executive director of Supporting Black Communities.
What? Anick, have you ever had such a thorough introduction?
It's so touching to have Ryan do the introduction
Ooh.
because it's gonna be cliche what I say. There is no me without you. Like seriously, I know let's not
Oh.
get too far, but it's just to say that based on the very first meeting I went to at ACBN, I just got touched by that bug of creating something, and here I am, 7, 8 years later almost, and I'm in it. I'm in it deep. I'm in the ring. I'm fighting food insecurity now. So it's been a great journey, and definitely Ryan, you should pat yourself on the back because you're part of the story. You're part of the story.
And I'm honored to be and proud of what you've done. So thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Thank
Before we get into our conversation, Nick, do you sleep?
Right.
Like I'm going, you taking on this also?
Mm.
Sleeping is a luxury today, but I enjoy it. The difference about the life that I live today is that it's really driven by passion. the life I used to live before, there was a little bit of stress and pressure. Now there's stress and pressure, but it's different. It's different. So this is closer to. I think I always say that my soul is singing when I'm doing this work. It's fulfilling. I get to speak to you two on a 9 a.m. on a Friday at my own time. So there are some perks to doing this, but I I do sleep less than before, but my day is filled with just doing wonderful work and meeting different people. So it's I don't complain anymore.
I love that. That's the first time I've been called a perk.
Right. Yes.
I gotta put that. I gotta put that somewhere. I gotta make that a cut somewhere. All right. So, can you tell us about the origin story of the Food Security Fund? What caused its inspiration?
Yes, so there, like you see, that we have three partners, and we've always wanted to do something together. So I was with Charitable Impact in different initiatives before. They're an organization in out of Vancouver, similar to Canada Helps, but they do similar work. And I've been involved with them at different levels, and we had discussions where they are now doing cause funds. And the cause fund model is to now have support for just one cause instead of different nonprofits, instead of an organization. So when you support one cause that is attached to more than one organization, you get to have a bigger impact. So they started that model and kind of perfected it, where they pool support for one cause, and then they attach an expert in that field for that cause that leads the direction of where the funds are going. So I was really interested by that model. We had discussions when they wanted to do something for the Black community, but what? There's so many things that we could do, from housing to youth, education, health, and food insecurity. We thought food insecurity was, pardon the pun, the lowest hanging fruit, the easiest one to tackle. No red tape. You don't have to go to government. Maybe you need a few permits here and there, but it's just something that everybody knows. And then now also within my network, the third partner, 667 Group, they are in the food industry, and so it just made it easier. But once we decided to do it on food insecurity, we looked at the numbers. Numbers are alarming for the Black community. There's in Canada, there's only 4 cities in the last 12 months that have declared food insecurity as an emergency. We're talking Toronto, Toronto, Kingston, Mississauga, and Broadville. Within a span of 5 months, they all declared food insecurity emergency, all in Ontario. So in Canada, there is a focus on food insecurity, but when you look at the number, it's really Ontario. Everything is concentrated in Ontario, and when you dig deeper, you see how much the Black community is so affected by it. We're talking about almost 50%. For children, for example, that is the stat that really got us moving. Is out of all the kids that are food insecure in Ontario, 46% identify as Black. So for us to address food insecurity, we're automatically addressing our community. And I think when you think about it, you don't want kids to have to be tired to go to school to learn. This is a crucial time in their lives. They should just be learning and having fun, not worry about if I'm eating and so on. And so this is something that said that stat is alarming. Why now? Is because it's the emergency is in Ontario. Why us? Because we're already in the business of helping the Black community through nonprofits and charities. So it just makes sense for us to be able to now address this. But because it's such a big issue, let's do it in a big way. So that's kind of the story of the Food Security Fund. It's just us coming together. We had a desire to do something meaningful and tangible for the Black community, and throughout our conversations, this is what came out of it. So this has been a year in the making, and as we've been in those discussions, the situation has just gotten worse. So today there's a lot more people that have joined the fight, and it's going to take a lot of people fighting at different angle, if I can say, some uppercuts, some jabs, but
Yes.
we're I'm more of a Muay Thai person, but
Yay.
we're in the fight. We're gonna fight for it, and it's exciting to be in the ring. Where I've learned so much more about food, about the situation, about the um, the people struggling, and knowing that our community is affected. It just makes sense for us to do something, and we're excited to launch it and to present it to people.
Love that. And I'm so curious because food insecurity is such a daunting topic. And I mean, people that are affected by it, a lot of times it comes with that stigma. You don't want people to know. So, food banks is one thing. But I'm curious now with creating a fund, where, like, what is that first step? Like, where do we start so that people can contextualize tackling this, because it can just be overwhelming. You're like, okay, man, people are struggling with food. What can we do? But you've now stepped into this area of creating the fund, not just a food bank. So I'm curious, why the fund and what is that next step that people that we're doing?
Yes, and what's different, I know you mentioned food bank. What's a little bit different with this model is that the food security fund, and there's one way that I can explain it and people will know right away, especially people in Ontario.
Mm.
When I talk about the Princess Margaret Foundation, we all know that they have that lotto, they have cars, trips, lamps, car. I want a lamp one year, that's why I say lamp. But there's all
Oh,
these things that they do. They have gamified fundraising, and then the funds that they raise, they at the end of the year they give about 50% to Cancer Foundation. So this is the model that we're using, where the Food Security Fund is a fundraising vehicle, a fundraising campaign to raise funds to activate our plan. So we do have a plan. We have a four-phase action plan to be able to address food security at different levels, at the distribution level, at the education level, and at the pipeline. So I know food banks, they help at front lines and really relief efforts. For us, we're not only looking at that, definitely distribution meal prep, that is part of it. What we're looking at as well is the long term aspect to really get at the root cause of this issue. And with the food cause, the very first thing we're going to need to do, and based on the surveys that we've done, and not surveys, but real discussions, we know that organizations that have food programs, they need storage. That's been the number one thing. People, Walmart, Loblaws, they all want to give them 40 pounds of potatoes. They have no place to put it.
right.
So the very first thing that we're looking at is to create the structure, the infrastructure of a food system. And the infrastructure, we need storage and compliant temperature control storage that will be able to support the different food programs that are with Black serving organizations and community hubs. So that is the idea, is to create something long-standing, not just distribution meals on front lines, but really create something that's sustainable. And it all starts with a storage location to be able to receive those donations. That's the
Magic.
number one challenge that most of Black serving organizations that are working with food programs are experiencing today. So this is where we're starting. So
Sure.
at the start of the fundraising campaign,
Right.
donations are vital to be able to fund that part of the action plan.
Storage is so important. I remember working with Mosea and they got a shipment of milk, like 2 crates, and didn't have enough fridges. So we had to deliver them all like that night or the next day. And it was like madness. But yeah, storage, because people want to donate, but if you can't even take it, you're stuck. So that's a great place to start.
Hmm. Hmm.
Just want to jump in here with some comments. Frequency of event promotions has Vibe and Night. He loves that. I guess we have to use that hashtag more often.
Yes, yes.
Vibe and Night hashtag. All right. Also, he says, going back to our earlier conversation, we do have the business concepts in place now, i.e., barbershops, hair salons, and grocery stores, but we can do better. Yes, we can. I somewhat agree with you on that, but we've got to diversify because there's a lot of barbershops, there's a lot of hair salons.
But
So,
even, is there like a Black barbershop owners association?
good
Like
question. Good
something like
question.
that where they're actually collaborating and working together. I don't know if that exists.
Good point. Frequent event promotions also says, "Hey there, Anick. Thanks for supporting our business when you did." All right, all right. So she's all. Minnie St. Clair says, "Yes, with Ontario Works being $733 a month, and that is expected to cover all your living expenses and basic needs. Then ODSP just increased to $1,408. That is $599 shelter allowance and $809 basic needs." She then says, Doug Ford refuses to raise them both to meet the high costs of living.
Gotcha.
You can see that Minnie is all in on this. She's going, this is her wheelhouse. She says, Ontario Work shelter costs is $390. And based on what on you have stable housing, and that is a program that anyone can access. He is here. The food plane is here. Hello, Dr. Vibe. Ryan and guest DS is here. He's a big time chef, food sustainability person based in New York. And by the way, food plane, Ryan's here for the whole show again. We were waiting for you to come by. He also says, hello, Minnie. Minnie St. Clair says, food plane hair. Okay. Here's a good question. He comes in with questions. So he goes to you. What's one misconception people often have about food insecurity in Canada?
Yes, great question. And the lady that had the comments earlier about housing issues and paying. So one of the misconceptions is that people think that it's only people that are poor, that are living in poverty. Today, you have the term that says the working poor, meaning you have a full-time job, but you still can't eat 3 times a day. Why? Because the high cost of living, the high cost of housing, and if you compound the effect of job insecurity and then income inequality as well, if you put all of that together, you have families that have to make the decision: do I pay my internet? Do I pay my rent? Do I pay my mortgage? Or do I eat? And we know that food is a variable expense, and people choose to, they don't choose, they have to make the decision to pay their house, their cars, just to be able to live. So that's what we see more and more: working poor. You can work, but doesn't mean that you can eat. People have reduced the way they eat just because that is the variable expense today. If you want to keep your house, your car, and your internet, you have to pay those. And then the high cost of living, food has gotten so, the prices. I mean, I bought an apple for $4 the other day. It's just, I was hungry. I bought it, but
Right.
it's ridiculous for $4. So
Right.
all
Where did
of
you
this,
buy an apple for $4? Because I'm not going to be shopping there, but I just want to make sure I don't have to go there. Where did you buy an apple for $4?
it's I don't know if you know the, I don't want to put them out, but it's Galleria.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah. So it was $4. It's because it's right by my place. It's easy access, but it's not affordable. But because it's easy access, I needed that apple, so I bought it.
Mhm.
Yes, but that, to continue on that answer, is really that it's not only poor people today. There are people living in their cars today because they can't afford housing. It's an I find that for the Black community, which goes to this, I think it's an invisible crisis. We don't see it until it's there. It's there. The numbers show it. You see um, more people going to events because there's food served, and things like this. Breakfast programs have been overwhelmed. So it's not just people that are poor anymore because of the high cost of life and everything else going on. It affects a lot more people that seem to be having the means but cannot afford food to feed themselves.
Well, and
That's
just
the
like
biggest one.
you said, when you're going check to check, week to week, and then suddenly, like food costs are going up, so rent now or anything else that you're paying for, you have to reduce how much food you're buying, and we push through. Like we can be hungry, but we need somewhere to live, or we need our car, we need certain things. But then when we don't eat right, we don't show up optimal. So we're at
Mhm,
work not at 100%, and
mhm,
that's affecting or running our businesses not at 100%. So you can
mhm,
see that domino effect that happens because food costs are going up. We're buying less of it or not able to eat properly.
mhm. Especially children. They go to school, they're tired, they can't learn well, they can't focus. That affects their health, their education, their development, and their social life. Food is social, eating is social. So when sometimes you have to refuse going to a restaurant with your friends because you can't afford it or
Yes.
things like this, it affects your social life. And then you go into isolation. um, let's not even start about seniors. It's the same thing for them as well. Their health, food is very social for them. So that's why it's an invisible crisis. It's not in our faces, but until you ask and you really get into people's personal lives, then you find out how they're affected. And for me, what touches me is the children. It's not something they created. They should just want to learn and play. That's it.
Yeah.
That's what a child should do. Learn, play, not worry about if they're going to have breakfast or lunch or dinner.
And it's so embarrassing when your friends ask you to come to their birthday party at a restaurant, and you have to be like, "So, are we all paying for ourselves, or are you covering it?" It's like,
Yeah, yeah. It's social. Eating is a
yeah.
social aspect. So I've seen events, several events that I've been to, and there were more people than usual. Not specifically for the event, but because it was free food, people showed up.
Interesting. You
Yeah.
see
People
that?
showed up,
Yeah.
and you can't
And
be mad
people
at
carry
that.
that
And
and
you know
people
you're
carry that
grateful for
food
the people who
home.
offer it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh, so Anik, I'm glad at the beginning you said you have a lot of time because the comments are blowing up.
Mm.
So there's lots of stuff going on. So I'm glad you have time, and we're also blessed and honored. We must bow that Sir Knight will be with us for the majority of this conversation today. So just catching up on some comments. Minnie says, "When I had to access a food bank, I experienced food botulism. Then in
Mm.
the emergency room, I get a lecture from the doctor instead of compassion." The
Mm.
food plane says, "I love how this conversation is showing us that food security is more than just about access, it's also about dignity and community."
Right.
Minnie St. Clair says, "Ontario Works has not increased since 2018. Really?
Okay.
And
Mm.
current government won't increase it more. Canadians are accessing social assistance." Hello, the Wallamala says, "Ford is just upset the court denied his plan to remove bike lanes." Oh, geez.
So you take it on everything else.
Uh,
Mm.
Food Plane says, "Oh wow, we get to see Ryan smile all show and his gray beard. By the way,
Yeah.
you can't ask for anything more." He also says, "Shout out to Matt, the producer." Minnie says, "Disability is a factor in misconceptions because people are not understanding. We have many invisible chronic disabilities that affects a person's ability to keep a full-time employment and manage."
Mm.
The Wallamala says, "That $4 apple better give me wings."
Yes.
The food plane says, "Hello, Seniors K." Seniors K says, "If there are organizations that deliver, maybe there needs to be more advertisement or a way for people to get access to those services." What are your thoughts on that point?
Absolutely, and this is actually part of the action plan. So the three pillars: distribution, education, and the pipeline. And we want to be able to work with organizations that are already in the field. We want to be able to, because they're at capacity and overwhelm. That's what the common thing that we've heard. And so we want to be able to help them complement their work, to help them scale and be able to have a bigger impact. So food delivery are part of the program that we will be assisting. And this takes infrastructure. It takes delivery trucks. It takes staffing. So one of the things that we heard a lot is not only storage but staffing. So it takes delivery trucks that are compliant to be able to transport food at different temperature, hot, cold, and so on. Some trucks can also have an outfitted kitchen to do the meal prep there. So these are all things that are part of the action plan that we have to be able to help in all these areas, specifically to deliver food as well.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. I'm gonna keep on running through the comments because we like to be engaging. And we notice on a black-owned platform, we're not giving 2 minutes like they do on other major platforms. I'm not gonna say anything else about that. Uh, so let's go to this comment. See, frequency event promotion says that Apple would have had to make me fly for free to the East Coast every weekend for $4. That is troublesome. That $4 Apple. Okay. Frequency event promotion has a question. Quick question, Anick. Does your organization do any work directly or indirectly with the African food basket?
100%. Zakaya is actually part of our advisory council, and we are absolutely 100% we're not only are grateful for his expertise and experience, but he because he's in the field, in the ring, he's been in the ring for a long time, he's a veteran.
Mm.
um 100% we are, and I sent him a message yesterday regarding this. We are absolutely will be working with African Food Basket. They bring a lot of experience and know-how. They're on the front lines, and they are one of the organizations that we are partnering with to create the pilot and develop our programs. Absolutely, he's part of the family, the Food Security Fund family.
All right, I got to go back to an earlier conversation. Not comment, sorry. Minnie St. Clair said, imagine giving up prescriptions because you cannot afford it, or giving up food because you need prescriptions.
Mm, yeah.
Right.
Right? C Nurse K says, hello, food plane, always a pleasure. See, we got family hanging out with each other in here today. Uh, Office of Tim Frey, who's also on the advisory board, says we have food in Canada, but there's roughly 24 billion pounds of food wasted annually, which is a value around 49 billion
Oh boy.
dollars Canadian going down the drain. Uh,
Mhm.
okay, so we're going to be on for a while. So before we go any further, a question: what makes what your organization different from other food programs or charities out there?
So from food bank, like I said, we are not only in food banks are needed, but they're really at immediate relief and on the front lines, distributing food to people in need it right now at the moment, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. What we're building is, yes, the distribution and being on the front lines will be a part of it, but we're building a pipeline. It's not just for right now. We, like I said, we want to have a structure, infrastructure, a storage facility that will be able to support the different food related programs in the Black community for Black serving organization. So what we're building right now, it's going to be ongoing forever. It's not just now. It's going to help organization with their pipeline, with their sustainability. So that's what's different. Food banks will are really just providing food. I'm not going to say just, because it's not just that people need food right now. So food banks are at the front lines distributing food. For us, we are going to be helping that side as well, but we want to help the organization be sustainable. So an organization is helping the kids, the seniors, the families, but who's helping them? That's who we are. With
Yeah.
the food cause, the Security Fund, we're going to be helping those organizations that are supporting the community at in different neighborhoods. So that's how we're different. The different food bank, they do great work, but they don't address also the the aspect with the Black children, which we are. That's why we're in this, to help our community that are, it's 50%, well, 46% to be exact. That's almost 50%, and we want to focus on that specifically. So that's going to makes us a little bit, actually a lot more different, that we're more holistic than just distributing fruit. Again, I don't want to say just, because this is a big part of it, but we're helping the helper at this point, so we're much bigger that way.
Love
Nice.
that. And I love that you mentioned kind of the first step was you're seeing the need with storage. Are there
Yes.
any other concerns that would be next that you're hearing from like the food banks or people in this food insecurity space?
So what we've heard consistently, definitely storage. Number two, cultural relevant food,
Ah,
and
I was
number
going to ask
three,
about that. I was going
number
to ask
three is
about that.
staffing. Yeah. Number three is what's the word I'm looking for? Certified experienced staffing. We know that people who handle food, like volunteers, they need to have a certain training. So that's what's missing for some of the food programs is the staffing. So these are the three. There's a lot more. Some is specific delivery of the food. Some is the meal prep, but the biggest ones right now are storage, cultural food, and staffing.
Gotcha.
And Nick, just building on that, I'd like to ask, what are some unique barriers Black families face in accessing nourishing and culturally relevant food?
Mhm.
The price, the access. You can't find plantain everywhere. I'll just say this. I have to go to a different grocery store. Um, and it's just we're so used to our staples. This I grew up on my ethnic background is Haitian. I grew up on Haitian food. I need my plantains and my kalaloo and I need this, right? So yes, I'm an adult and I can do other things, but I need that food and so others as well. So definitely the price and the whole the pipeline, where it comes from, how it comes. Do we do bulk orders to reduce the price? So it's about negotiating those vendor deals, those distribution deals that can get uh, better 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 deals, more affordable and more accessible. I think the price is one, and the accessibility to different markets also that is one. So if you're in a neighborhood that has predominantly other ethnic groups, you want to see that food aisle where it usually says ethnic food, and you have those. So sometimes you see them, sometimes you don't. And also we talk about food desert. So pardon my French, food desert, where there's not enough grocery stores in certain neighborhoods, or some of the grocery stores. Again, I don't want to name names, but some the quality of the food is not the same from one to the other. I don't buy my fruits and vegetable at certain grocery stores where there's more of them, just because the quality is not the same. So it's looking at this. These are some of the things that are the barriers.
All
Makes
right. Oh, no, I just, producer Matt, if you can you just put up the contact information for the organization up on the screen? I've shared it on all the comment sections on all the platforms, but I do want to also give justice. And in a few minutes, we'll also put up, we'll do a share of the website. We'll do that in a few moments. But if you want to find out more information, there's email addresses there, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok. So thank you so much for that. I have a conversation piece in regards to, um, I don't know if you talked about this already, but if you have, sorry for asking again, the four phases of the organization's plan.
Yes, the first phase is the infrastructure, is the foundation, and it's the biggest need. It's a storage facility, and that also includes food trucks, food delivery, because that's something that we could do. It's easier to get, and we can start storing in food trucks that are compliant temperature wise. And also we can prep some food in a truck that is outfitted with a kitchen. So we're looking at trucks and creating a infrastructure like a storage facility. The second step is we've already started, like African Food Basket is one of them, having preliminary conversations with different organizations that have different needs. So for us to create proven models on distribution, education, and the pipeline, we need to work with active programs. So people that are currently active, that we will be working with them active but at capacity and overwhelmed. So these are the organizations that we've identified and we're going to be working with to create a proven model, a proven framework of distribution, education, and the pipeline. And what this allows us to do is we want to understand also what the organizations are going through, and it allows us to be able to build a model that's adaptable and flexible. Because yes, we're working with these organizations, but eventually the plan is to go the nationally. So what we're doing is we are creating a central location, and I want to give you the example of Tim Hortons or McDonald's. We always see the Tim Hortons truck delivering. Well, they're coming from a commissary kitchen where they are preparing the meals and then delivering to that Tim Hortons, that McDonald's, and so on. So
Gotcha.
you have that system for hotels, for big restaurants, for airlines. This is what we are aiming to create for the Black community, specifically to assist the organizations that have Black food programs. So we want to create this hub, which is a storage facility and has kitchen to do some meal prep, and then we'll be able to assist, depending on their needs, the different organizations within the city. Tim Horton has the same commissary kitchen in Montreal, in Vancouver, in Alberta, and so on. But we need to create a proven model. We need to create those relationship vendor deals that are national, all those things. So we want to start by Ontario, specifically Toronto, and we know this is a little bit the epicenter of the food insecurity crisis for the Black community. So step one, the infrastructure. Step two, working with organizations to develop those proven models on the three pillars: distribution, education, and the pipeline.
Mhm.
Step three, for me, I've really understood what impact measurement is. It's actually everything for a nonprofit and a charity, but you have to set things at the beginning, at the foundational stage. So we are working on community reports where we're gonna survey, inventory a bit the different food programs in the city, the different communities that are mostly affected, and understanding what do they have, what's their pain point, what are the numbers, because we want to be able to identify where do we go next. So we'll with those community reports are really going to give us the data that we need to make an objective decision on where to go next. And then having those community reports allows us to, a year from now, after we finish helping a certain neighborhood and organization or a community hub, now we know we have a baseline. So now it's easier to be able to really measure the impact. Are we doing it? Are we going the right way? Is this actually working? But we need to have a baseline. And that's what the community reports are, is to create a baseline of information, and then it helps us get a data-driven decision to know where to go next,
Right.
and then to be able to provide those numbers based on the baseline. And then the fourth is where everything comes together and we're able to scale this up. Now that we have something that works, we're able to expand and then scale our operation, meaning go to more cities. Montreal could be next. There's also Halifax when you look at the numbers for the Black community in terms of food insecurity challenges. And so we can now replicate this model nationally, and do it in a different way, using again the I keep going back to Tim Horton, but I see that I live by Tim Horton, and the truck is always in my way when I try to leave in the morning.
Ah,
So I see the truck. I see the truck. So
yes.
it's usually this big truck, but it's coming from somewhere. And so
Yes.
that's and that idea was really developed through the advisory council, because we have individual on the council that in their previous lives were involved in running some of these commissary kitchens, and I've had the experience to build them, and that's one of the things that we think will be having a central location that can help assist different organization is something that the model that we're going for. So these are the four phases.
Wow. Uh, I don't know, Ryan. Do you see how many comments are in?
Like,
It's
this might be the most in
like,
like one span of time, in like
yeah, this
10
is
minutes.
just this is
Comments that we've
out of bounds. So one of
And
the things
I
for people,
truly do apologize. I
you
actually
have to
do
go.
have to jump at a 10, and I actually need to prep a bit for this. So
Oh, I see. Now you're
I
gonna
love
get
you.
food plane mad.
I know, but I'm still gonna be listening. So
You're gonna get
I'll
food
try and
plane mad. How
comment in.
dare you? How you do it? Okay, no problem. We'll
Yeah,
see you on Monday, and we're gonna keep the food theme because on Monday is gonna be our monthly visit from Carolyn Nicole. So we'll
right.
chat, Ryan. Have a
Oh,
good
and
one.
a quick note, we do have our event on Sunday. So if you are in Ajax or willing to get to Ajax, we're doing the car wash fundraiser for the Durham Community Action Group, which is a food well, they do many things in community, but they do have a food bank in Ajax. So hopefully we'll see you there. But thank you, Anick, for being here.
All right. Take care, Ryan. Have a good one. Thanks a lot. All right. You said you had some time. I have a
I
feeling we're
do.
going to be going to it for at least another hour. I have
I
this
do.
feeling.
I do. I have time.
Okay. All right. So okay, let's do it this way. So Office of Tim Frey says, will food wasted be addressed?
It has to. It has to, and he gave the numbers before. 46 or 49 billion dollars worth of food wasted. That doesn't even make, I can't even compute that number, right? But there's what we call food waste, zero waste, food rescue, food surplus. This is a big part of the education part. I think people need to know first that these are things that exist, these are the numbers out there, but also people need to know how to keep more food at home through the zero waste. But it's not only the community learning, the people that are affected to learn how to keep more food, but it's also educating the manufacturers of food, the distributors of food, and the food vendors, some of the practices that they can also uh, implement to keep more food in their stores, or to not waste the food, or how to rescue the food. There's also food rescue, meaning that if the at a certain level the food vendors normally would need to get rid of the food, then there's a whole food rescue sector that goes and get the food and now creates different things with the food to be able to use it right away. And this is a big part of what we're going to do at that location. And we have a couple of one of the advisory council, Robert Rainford, that will be part of this initiative, the repurposing food. So there's so many things: food waste, zero waste, food rescue, food surplus, repurposing food. We have to address this. We have to. $49 billion makes no sense. It doesn't make sense when we have 46% of Black children in Toronto being food insecure. If you just do the math, you're like, why don't we just take this food, repurpose it, and give it, make it accessible? It seems so easy, but there's a lot of things. There are policies, there's processes that people do, sometimes ethical, sometimes non-ethical, but we have to address the zero waste or the food waste issue, and not make it it's not so much a waste management issue, but we can rescue that food and do something with it. Absolutely. It's part of it.
All right, and I want to just say, everyone who's watching live, who's making comments, bear with us because you're putting in so many comments, and Anika's dropping so many knowledge bombs, so we're managing it the best we can. So Minnie says, if it's not invisible, many people are ignoring it. There's over 1 million people on social assistance for Ontario, in Ontario right now. That is Ontario Works on Ontario Disability Support Program. That means it. Minnie says 1 in 15 people. She also says accessing services with a long, lengthy application process and judgment from the people doing the intake application. Derek says, I just worked on a film last night. I know for sure food was thrown away. I did take some home. There you go. Frequency of Event Promotion says hashtag Zakaya Dafari. And also he's continued the legacy that his father has set.
That's correct. That's correct.
All right. I'll skip by Food Plane's question. We'll get to that at the end. C Nurse K says, hello, Minnie St. Clair. That is truly unacceptable. Those stats. Okay, we got that. She goes, Minnie says, I'm the one accessing these programs, and many of peers with disabilities are drinking sugar water, living with autoimmune disabilities. Wow. Derek says, good morning to the Food Plane. He also says, hello, the one and only Derek Tuggle. Okay, I'm going to skip Frequency of Events question because we'll get to that in the end. Let's get to some more stuff. Oh, here we go. Minnie says, and I see my peers post their GoFundMe on social media, doing virtual panhandling, hoping that their needs met to cover the missing gaps from social assistance across the country. I'm gonna go there, and she goes. All my credit card debt right now is because I'm buying higher quality food recommended by my doctor. Do you want to talk about that for a second at all?
In higher quality food, food is a medicine, right? How to address this? Uh, right now, higher quality food is more expensive, and this is something that we definitely need to look into. We saw recently how Loblaws and I think Western Family has gone into this war in the news about bread. I'm sorry if I'm not quoting things right the right way, but there was a bread war and they just kept increasing the price of bread between themselves. And they were fined, I believe, but the fine does not really cripple them in any way. We saw the food companies during COVID making profits. So the food industry is really they're there to make money. I mean, we know that they haven't really adjusted. They haven't given adjusted to the population and the cost of living. They're just probably increasing it with increasing prices. So definitely, it's something to definitely look at how high quality food is more expensive. It doesn't have to be that expensive. There's so many things there. Profitability in the food industry is still driving a driving force instead of just nourishing people. These are bigger conversation, but I'm telling you, we're in the ring. So whatever conversation comes to us, we'll put our gloves on and analyze them. But it is a bigger conversation. But this is at the can government do something about the food price monopoly? Something to look at. Something to look at.
C Nurse K says funding is the biggest challenge. Do you believe that's the case? It's the biggest challenge?
I go back to the Princess Margaret Foundation. If you gamify, there's different ways of funding, but I wanna put this aside. Fundraising, yes, money, financial donations are needed and they're crucial at certain part of the phase that we're in. But at some point, I want to look into what do you have to share. People have things to share. They have resources. They have access to share. They can volunteer their time, their skills. So funding is needed. I don't know that it's the biggest challenge because you can still do things through shared resources. You go to vendors and you see what can we do together. There's collaboration, partnering, and now if I go to the model of the Princess Margaret Foundation, people do give them items that they raffle off and then they fundraise with it. We just saw the Blue Jays that did a 50-50 raffle that went up to $3 million, right? So I think you're right, it is a challenge, but we just have to be creative. And me being in this space right now, I'm seeing how it's possible to change the way funding looks like and then reframe it to donors to say when you're supporting your cause, you can now see the fruits of your labor, where this is going. And with the Food Security Fund, you will be able to see those infrastructures being built, the trucks on the road. You'll see where your donation is going. This is what funding does, but we just have to reframe it and keep it interesting for donors and making sure that they see where their donation is going. And for ours is to be accountable and transparent about where the funds go.
Like that, all right. Food Plane goes, food security is really about security for our future generations.
Hmm.
Minnie St. Clair says, we have people experience scurvy from lack of proper food, which means infusion of supplements, then right back into the broken system. Derek says, she is correct. I have seen the quality of fruits and meats are different in major food chains in black and brown neighborhoods and mostly white neighborhoods. All right. What else? Frequency Event Promotion says, this show is truly grabbing my attention. My route to the grocery store has changed. I often find myself visiting a butcher for my food needs. Why? Because of quality of food and better prices.
Mm.
Uh, Food Plane says no. Take care, Ryan. So I guess he was sad that Ryan's leaving. Uh, Minnie says, I'm one bad month away from accessing a food bank if my systems don't allow me to work when I want to.
Hmm.
She also says, when you don't have proper cooking tools and utensils, it's hard to keep food waste down and zero food contaminants with your food.
Hmm.
Many people on disability are experiencing this.
And this is part of the education. People don't know, and when people don't know because you don't know what you don't know, right? You don't know that it's something that's possible, and so that's one of the pillars is education to show the people how to keep more food. Maybe there's certain processes to use, certain things to do. Certain foods are better to preserve than others at a certain stage. And I'll say it, I don't know these things myself, and I'm looking forward to learning from the different chefs that we have with us this portion because anybody could help the system, the food system, by being able to save more food at home. And that'll also educate some of the food vendors and broadline distributors on practices in the grocery store shelves as well.
All right, so just a little pause here to say that for people who are commenting on YouTube, you can see top fans. So right now, top commentators, or say commenters. I don't know which one it is on YouTube. Mini on Cam, Tim Frey, C Nurse K, and Food Plane and Frequency Event Promotion. So I'm watching you. I'm watching you. All right. C Nurse K says food insecurity for anyone is heartbreaking, but children especially is very sad and unacceptable.
Mhm.
Food Plane says fast foods throw away a ton of food. It may not be the healthiest food, but it's still something. What if fast foods got together and donated all that food instead?
Good point. You're right. It's not the healthiest food. Something to think about. Yes,
Okay. No, just
yes,
putting it out there.
yeah,
Look
yeah,
who's
absolutely.
here. Fitness IQ Cam says, Morning. Good morning, Fitness IQ Cam. Food Plane says, restaurants can do the same. Donate foods that they would normally throw away like leftovers. They could donate them to a place that feeds people, including the homeless.
Mhm.
Senior's case says, sorry, when I said funding, it was in relation to another comment regarding different governments. I know there are a lot of comments to keep up with. Great job. No worries. Between myself and producer Matt, we're keeping the faith.
Mhm.
Office of Tim Frey, Mr. Tim Frey says Princess Margaret Hospital, it's in downtown Toronto, took away around $338 million in 2024 and gave around $152 million to different cancer organizations. This is the model of the FSF initiative, Food Security Fund initiative.
That's
Uh,
exactly it.
okay, the Wallama says I'm all the way in six. That means the comments in YouTube. Time for comeback season. You do that. You do that. You do that comeback season. All right. Let me. Why don't? Okay. Why don't we shine some light on some of your partners?
Yes. So the story of the Cause Fund, again, it support Black charities. I'm the founder and executive director of Support Black Charity, and we're in the business of helping the Black community. It just makes sense for us. So the program, the Food Security Fund, is led by Support Black Charities. The platform that we're using to accept donations, and they usually do the Cause Fund model, is Charitable Impact. So they have a platform. They've done this before, where it's a place where we can pull all the funds, and then the expert, me and my team, can now distribute the funds based on our action plan. The third, that's why we say powered by Charitable Impact, the platform. And our execution partner is 667 Group. You'll obviously Mr. Tim Frey in previous work with in the food industry, and along with Chef Robert Renford. So two people that are close to me that have wanted to do something like this in the past through their organization, and they are bringing the wealth of knowledge in the food industry, and we need to have those food industry experts in our group because they understand the gaps. We need to see what the gaps are. So these are the opportunities. Once we know where the gaps are, we know what to address, who to go to, and so on. So the two, Chef Rob Brentford and Tim, they have their company called Food is Not a Privilege, is due to come out soon. So maybe you should invite him to talk about food is not a privilege, but it's a big part of what we're doing. Some of the advisory councils, we're talking about Janice Bartley from Foodpreneur, big part of what we do in terms of the education, facilitating the food industry expert. This is, she comes with a wealth of knowledge, specifically food safety, that can really help not only us building the storage facility, but also the education part, and then also the different food programs. How do we help them? There's a wealth of knowledge there. For Chantal and Michelle, they have a company. It's food as medicine. So it's a raw food. You're talking about a chef and an educator between the both of them, and they have education programs online already for youth. And so this is something that we want kids to be interested in their nutrition and be part of the solution of changing their narrative about food insecurity and understanding what they're eating and things like this. So they're a big part of that. And your chief partner there, Ryan is a community connector. He's our government relation person. We know how he talks, how he carries himself, and we need to have people in the community that understand how to outreach. Obviously, people with the food industry, but also that are business leaders. We're building this as a business, so it's a mix of community and business practices that we're putting together for the sustainability. And I already talked about Zakaya Tafari, so we've had a lot of information from him. He's on the front line. He's been there since he's a kid. Like you said, his father had the mental before, and now he's taking it on. So this is who the advisory council is. I am grateful that I have this group of people that I can rely on for information. I have to tell you, over the last year, I have learned so much about food. I've learned about the food system, food in general, the issues, the challenges, and I'm all for it. I love understanding what the issues are. And I don't know if my background is in engineering. I don't know if that's engineering me that wants to solve issues and create processes for it. But I love that development aspect, understanding the issue, the problem, really well and having resources to understand it and then working on it, developing something and then being able to implement it. And so together, there's probably going to be other people that we add on to the administration group, but this is who the people that have the oversight on the food security fund and the 4 phase action plan.
Wow. You don't sleep.
A little bit.
You don't sleep. You don't. No, you don't sleep. Uh, Another question for you. You mentioned serving intermediate needs while building sustainable systems. Can you give examples how the fund balances those two goals?
Yes, so part of the infrastructure that we're looking at is storage. But like I mentioned, it's also buying food trucks. Purchasing food trucks allow us to have a little bit of storage because you can use food trucks for storage if they're compliant with the temperature control inside for hot and cold. So that we can, if we start with food trucks, we have a way to help right away. So that is being able to provide relief right away while still building the full-fledged storage facility. So that's why one of our first action of the first phase, if I can say, is to not only food delivery trucks, food trucks, and food trucks that are outfitted with kitchens, then we can do some meal prep. We know organization that probably need more hands in the kitchen to be able to assist them with full food prep. So that's something that we can do at a small scale right away as soon as we have those trucks while we're building the rest of the pipeline. So there's little things that we could do right away with some of these purchases until we build the bigger infrastructure.
Sounds fantastic. All right. So, how does the Food Security Fund nurture Black food entrepreneurship? And do you have any stories to share? I know it's probably early, so maybe how are you planning to nurture Black food entrepreneurship?
We're talking about, it's probably a conversation for at a later point, but you have those ethnic food store, grocery stores. How do we help negotiate vendor deals so they get things at a lesser price that they can offer it to the community? These are some of the things that we can have discussions with in terms of uh, Black entrepreneurship. There are businesses that are specifically within the food industry, and these are some of the from the restaurants, from grocery stores, from the distribution of food, and so on. So that we definitely want the buy-in of the community, and we want to be able to, at a certain point, scale them as well. If they're part of that food pipeline, they are part of the people that we also want to be able to support so they can increase their capacity efficiently to be able to support the whole food pipeline. So in that way, it's yes, we are looking at organizations right away, and charities and nonprofits or community organizations, but businesses have a role to play there as well.
All right, back to our comments. Minnie Sinclair says, I live this daily, so it's hard for me to believe we are bridging the gaps when you're experiencing food experience in your daily life. She says, food security is something I never thought would be in my life. She also says the Ontario Disability Support Program, special diet allowance, maximum $250. If you quality based on a specific health conditions, I get $215. It is not indexed with inflation. $250 my because my health declined. Okay.
I just want to recognize Minnie for sharing this. Thank you for being open and sharing. I don't know if this is something you do all the time, but for
She
me,
does. She does.
well, and this is part of it. Right now, we're in the brand awareness of this fund. And when people are asking us, what do we need right now? We need people to share their stories, to let people know this is a reality that people are living. And she mentioned that she never thought she would be there. This is the reality of so many people. They never thought they would be there, but this is the situation. And that's, and Minnie, you're the type of person that we would like to help, and that touches my heart when you see people never thought they would get there. That's um yeah, we're in this for that reason, to be able to help people that never thought they would get there, and they're not the poster child of food insecurity that we see often. We think it's people that are really in poverty or for different reasons of their lives. So, Minnie, thank you. I acknowledge you sharing your experience.
Excellent. I know the organization is fairly new, but the Food Plains asks, what's one success story from the Food Security Fund that really sticks out with you? Now, and you may not have one because it's so early in the journey, but you
Yes.
never know. So if you don't ask, you don't know, right?
What I can say is that between me and my the advisory council and my partners, for me specifically, my LinkedIn has been blowing up since we've put this out. I know it hasn't turned into a success story, but what I'm understanding is more people are coming to me saying, I'm happy that I something is being done about this, or I did not know about this. Thank you for shedding the light on this. And this is something we do on social media by making sure that people know the stats and see what's going on. So it's not a full-fledged success story like you'd like to see, but for me, it's those little wins that, okay, thanks to this food security fund and the campaign that we've done online, people are now informed that there's a crisis happening, and they now know that there is a way to do something about it, obviously by donating and contributing and getting involved with the food security fund, they can now contribute to this. I Many times I hear people, now I know, I don't I want to do something about it, but I don't know what to do. Well,
Right.
this is now something that people can do constantly. It's not just a one-time fundraising. After 2 years we stop, we finish the program. This is forever. This is We're building a legacy. Long after I'm gone, this is going to continue. There's It needs to be sustainable, yes, and this is a big part of what we're going to be working with, getting those either multi-year funding to continue funding this, but also to continue donating to the different organization as well. And we're just following the model that Tim mentioned, the Princess Margaret Foundation, that 338 million last year,
Yeah.
and they've done this for over 30 years. The food banks, they are always fundraising and they're always helping at the same time. So that's the model that we're going for. It's going to be ongoing, but the little wins of people now being aware of it because of the message that we're putting out, this is a win for me. This is a little success,
I really love how you said it's a little win. Little wins turn into big wins.
right?
All right. So we got to celebrate them along the way. Another
Mm.
question from the food plane. He says, how do you balance providing intermediate relief with long-term solutions?
The four-phase action plan is built to be able to provide long-lasting relief by building the foundation first, working with different organizations to help them scale, increase their capacity. This is how we're doing intermediate relief and long term relief. This is how we're setting up people not only for immediate, intermediary, and long term relief. This is the whole uh, basis of the four phase. We're building a long lasting, forever lasting model that can provide relief at every point.
Like that. Like that. Minnie St. Clair says, yes, I'm in and I have the stats to go with it.
Mm.
Let's ask, so what does your vision of, quote, and it's from your website, quote, a Canada where every black family has access to food that is affordable, nourishing, and culturally relevant, delivered with dignity. What does that look like in practice?
This is the when they say oh I was gonna say it in French. Sorry, when they say shoot, look at the
Shoot
moon,
for the
but shoot.
moon, or
Yes.
shoot for the stars, or shoot for the moon, or say, I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, we need to have something that drives us, and that's the goal. And you'll know as well that within our group, the advisory council, we do also have franchise gurus. So the franchise guru means you create a model that works, and in the business world is cash flow positive, right? So once you create a model that works, and then you replicate it.
Yeah.
So in terms of um, what does it look like later on? That's what it looks like for us. We create this model in Toronto where the need is the greatest, and we're able to take it across the Ontario again, where Ontario again is the epicenter of food insecurity in Canada. And then once we've been able to work out the kinks, create those national vendor deals, understanding more about the food system, the gaps that we're able to fill, then we can take our model to Montreal, to Halifax, to Alberta, to Vancouver, to other areas where we have food insecurity. We're always looking at the children first. And in that sense, this is where I'm envisioning that at some point in Canada, we'll have these centers everywhere with the framework, the model working, um, national deals, being able to send food to different food programs across the country at an affordable price. And we have deals with farmers that it's straight from farmer to an organization. So the food is a little bit more nutritious. And part of this, the education is food as a medicine. So people are more informed of what they need. And in cultural food, being able, um, when you put it all together, this is my vision. I have to have a vision and work towards it. And so that's what what I'm envisioning is at some point we'll have different centers all going in differently or parallelly and being able to nourish our Black community with affordable, nutritious food. So that's the vision that I keep focusing on. That's the goal.
Nathaniel Frey Smith says, yes, Anick. And Minnie wants you to say it in French.
Oh, do you want me to say it in French?
Go ahead. It's your show. I'm just steering the ship. Go ahead.
No, no, it's well, I could, but I don't
Go
know if there's
ahead.
any French. I'll just say the promo in French,
Okay.
and just this. Do you know French? You speak French?
Un peu.
Un peu, ok, ok. Je veux juste me présenter, je m'appelle Anick Silencieux, je suis de Food Security Fund et on a créé une initiative qui va aider les gens dans l'insécurité pour la nutrition. Donc, on essaie de créer des centres à travers le Canada, en commençant par Toronto, pour pouvoir aider les familles noires qui sont vraiment affectées par malnutrition et l'insécurité au niveau de la nutrition. There you
Wonderful.
go.
There you
That's
go.
as much as I could say without taking too much time, but there you go. There's my
Well,
French.
we have the time for you. We make the time for you. All right. Another conversation piece for you. How does policy, local or national or provincial,
Mhm.
affect food security for Black Canadians, and what policy changes would make the greatest difference?
What I've learned, like I told you that I've learned a lot about the food industry within the last year. So within the zero waste policy, the zero waste sector, there are a lot of different rules or policies that are in place in the food industry that you can't keep this after a certain time, you have to throw it away. So these are some of the things that instead of after a certain time, some policies could change that make sure that this food is being rescued. And I should have had the correcting, but in Europe, right now, there's one country, and I don't know the country. I will get the name. There is a policy in place where certain food grocery stores are fined if they throw out food. So what they do is they have different things. So what they do is they reduce the price when the food gets, I think we have this a little bit here, but it's not widely done. But some grocery stores reduce the price of food when it gets almost to expiration to get people to buy them. So it doesn't get wasted. Somebody does buy it. So I know that there's an actual policy and grocery stores are fined if they don't have those practices. Why not implement it in Canada? I don't know if at the policy level, I don't know. I don't know what more it involves, but I was very, very surprised. I actually bookmarked this report when I saw this on YouTube. It's groundbreaking to have this at the policy level to force grocery store to keep more food and not throw it away and just reduce the price. So um, it can be done. There's things to observe. The food industry is as a lot because of compliance. They probably have policy for compliance, and I think there's certain things that could be examined further to help the $46 billion of food that's wasted every year. If nobody's looking at that, that's that's a huge problem. I can't imagine $46 billion. I just can't. That makes no sense to me. This is the biggest opportunity in our faces. Even if we reduce it by 1 billion, it's still something, right?
Yeah.
So there's opportunities there, and I'm sure the policies around it that could be examined further.
All right. So, chiming in, the Macmillan Group says, good morning. This is such an eye opening, insightful conversation. In such a wealthy nation, there are folks every day struggling with hunger.
Mhm.
Minnie says, yes, more French to make it more accessible to everyone. The Walamala says, if you travel to France, I'm including you in my travel in itinerary. Ah!
Mhm.
Minnie St. Clair says, the No Frills near me has 50% stickers and clearance
Mhm.
rack for their
I
produce.
see. Mhm.
All right. Another question. What's the big goal with FSF? What are you hoping to achieve?
Our goal right now, 5 million, 2 years. This is the goal we're going with. And please, if you go on their website, foodsecurityfund.ca/action-plan, you will see the full plan. You will see what we've allocated for each phase, what we're planning for each phase in terms of resources, funds, everything. The plan has been laid out. Now, the plan could change a little bit, being adjusted as we learn more, but based on the experience the expertise that's around me, that's the plan that we're going forward with. Um, that was the yes, 5 million in 2 years. So at the end of those 2 years, given we get the 5 million, we will have a proven model in Toronto that is ready to expand, a data driven model, proven, that is ready to expand and scale, and then we can bring it to other cities. So that's the plan within 2 years. And that model will include an infrastructure that is flexible and adaptable to be able to service and assist the different food and security program within the city that are really helping the people that are mostly in need. And we know that right now the numbers show that the Black community is in need in different neighborhoods. So a working model in 2 years, given that we get 5 million, we're able to implement the full model and then take it across different cities, different provinces, and then nationally.
How will you know this organization is making a positive difference?
Impact measurement, conversation, and that's what we're doing right now. We're having preliminary conversations, signing agreements, making sure that it's in writing what we're going to be working together with, and uh, it had for any stakeholder, any conversation, whether it's a donor, a supporter, a funder, anything, impact measurement is important. We need to show that with the funds that we're receiving, we're implementing the plan and it's giving a certain result. So I did speak also with the community reports, and that's the sole purpose of community reports. And you'll see from the website that we will, as soon as we start having some data, we will have an impact dashboard that people can see based on the different metrics. And it's also added to the website what metrics we're looking for the different phases, and different phases or different pillars. Now I can't remember which ones, but we have to look at impact measurement. This is the way that we can find out if what we're doing is working and efficient. And that's by understanding where we are at the beginning and where we are at each point. So having the community reports to really get a baseline of information, and then at key points during the project to just take a temperature check and find out, are we aligned, are we in line, are we misaligned or aligned with the plan, and then making the necessary adjustments. But that's what it's going to take for us to stay on plan.
Wow. Like I said, do you get any sleep?
A
All
little
right.
bit.
C Nurse K says greed is most likely contributing to this a lot, but a lot of those discounted food items they seem to be really should be in the bin. Sometimes they wait a bit too long to discount it, especially the meat. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Let's see what else. Oh, uh, what kind of impact are you already seeing?
People know about it. You just heard somebody that says this is an insightful conversation. They didn't know about it. That's a small win. From now on, this person will see food insecurity everywhere. Once you know, you know. You cannot see it. And this is what it takes. You need to be aware of it, and then after this, I think the next step is you're moved by it. And if you're in a position that you can do something, we're inviting you to be able to donate to us, to come with us for the ride. This is a ride. We're going on a ride, and we're creating something. We're creating a legacy in Toronto and hopefully in the rest of Canada. But the first thing is you gotta be you gotta understand that there is a problem, and when you start seeing it and you're aware of it, you're more moved to want to do something about it.
Macmillan Group says Metro does that with their fruit and veg and breads too. It is
Mhm,
surprising to see how many families shop off that quote discount unquote rack.
mhm, mhm.
Absolutely. Let me see. There was a question way back. I want to see if I can get from. Of course, it was from the fruit plane. Ah, here it is. If you had the ear of the prime minister for 5 minutes, what would you say?
Food waste. I can't get over the $46 billion. That's I can't get over that. This is the one of the biggest opportunities to at least observe it. But I would want to say that there is a problem and ask what can be done at the level of government. I know maybe can they affect policy within the corporate world? I'm not sure that's a popular way to go, but it's just to make the prime minister aware that there is a situation happening, and and just make it known. I don't hear about it that much at the level of government, especially in Ontario. Ontario is the epicenter of the food crisis in Canada. And the other thing that I can talk about too, not in the Black community, you also have the Indigenous community that
Yes.
is widely affected. This is the next. We're 46%, they are like 40%. So there's another group that is also being a bit targeted by what we're doing. But you have other regions in Canada, uh, Manitoba, Alberta, that probably have a higher for the Indigenous community. So if I had to speak to the Prime Minister and say that we do have a problem with youth, and if we're looking at our future, we should look at how can we help the youth or the children in terms of their education, health, and their development, because it starts there. If we can't nip it in the bud at that time, we know later on it does impact the health system, impact the kids who didn't have the education, not the focus, the job market, and everything. So if I had the ear of the prime minister, I would talk to him about the indigenous and the black children that are affected in Canada, in a country that is a developed country.
What are the biggest challenges or I like to say opportunities the fund faces right now?
The biggest opportunities is that people don't know about it. um, the fact that we're able to educate or share, raise awareness about the issue first. I'm telling you, when I said that my LinkedIn is blowing up, is these are the emails that I get to say, oh, I never knew these were the stats. I never knew this was going on, or I didn't know there was something that was working on something long term. I didn't know the Black community was that affected. This is the opportunity that because it's not known, we want to make it more known. And I know that the more people know about it, the more people want to act. And our job is to make sure that we present to the community, to Canadians, a way to contribute and be part of the solution. So the opportunity is for us to present it in a way that this is something that every Canadian can take can take part in and see the evolution of what we're building, starting in Ontario and Toronto specifically.
Let me ask also, what's next for the fund? Any upcoming projects or goals that you're looking to achieve?
So we literally just started.
Yes.
August 1st, I want to say,
Wow.
we're starting, yes, so 8 days. We're 8 days old. We're still discovering ourselves, opening our eyes. But we're in the phase of raising awareness and brand identity so people know who we are, what we do, what we're about, who's behind it. This is part of the fundraising campaign for people to understand who we are and then get the buy in of the community, but get the opportunity to really on the website, on social media, we put information so you understand what we're building, and then we're going to continue expanding our outreach, and uh, these are kind of the goals right now. So brand identity, brand awareness, and also raising awareness about food insecurity within the Black community, specifically children in Toronto, Ontario. I think I know I've said it many, many times, but I couldn't
That's
believe it
okay.
when I saw that this is the epicenter, and we're in it. And so starting here will make the biggest impact. if we start here. We have the different situations, the different things to learn from, circumstances. So starting here will help us build something very strong and flexible and adaptable, that it'll be a lot easier now to take it on the road to other cities.
Okay. The Walamala says, if I had the ear of the PM for 5 minutes, I'd tell him to resign.
Oh no.
And Fitness IQ Cam says, wow, 8 days old, but already making positive impact. I'll add that there. So as we start winding it down, is there a message you'd like to leave our family with today?
I hope that I've been able to present to you, the problem that we're facing in our community in Toronto, and that you see that there are initiatives that are serious about tackling this problem head on, but not only at one moment. It's a long term. Um, Food insecurity has always been there, but after the pandemic, it exploded even more. And I'm hoping that today the family, has learned more about it, and especially about what we're doing, and understanding that there's something that everybody can do, about this. At the phase where we're in right now, it's all about, yes, donations are vital, but that I've gained a little bit of your trust, and I'm going to continue working to gain your trust on our plan and on what we're doing and what we're building, and that you see that we're in the fight, we're in the ring. I got everything on my protective gear. I'm fighting every day. And I hope that you'll contribute and be part of the solution, and then you could see it grow. You will see it. We're talking about visible infrastructure that you'll be able to see, and we're not going anywhere. You'll see on social media that Chef Robert Redford, he's dedicating the rest of his career for this. So as Tim Frey, myself, I'm in it all the way through. It's a shared passion that we have to create something meaningful and tangible for our community, and that comes from all three partners. And I hope that I've gained, some of your trust, and that you'll follow us for the ride, and then you'll be part of the solution by, at this stage, donating, and maybe at a later stage, let's partner, let's talk. What can we share? What can we do? Do we have access to something? Do you have, uh, resources? I want people to be in that conversation, and I would love to be able to blink and be 20 years later, and we're in 10 cities across the. But I'm here for the journey too. I'm not just going to blink and be there. But that's what I'd like to leave the audience to join us in the ring, for this fight. Let's do this together. We have a plan, and we have a fundraising vehicle to be able to make an impact in our community about food insecurity.
Wonderful. So we're going to do a few things. Producer, can you put up the screen share? As always, we want to get our audience feedback. So especially if you're watching on YouTube, we'd love you to rate the conversation from 1 to 5. 1 saying, 5, it's out of bounds. So if you could do that for our show, we always appreciate that. Also, if we have here, I'll follow up on our YouTube channel, the top people who were commenting today. Top 3 people commenting today on YouTube, on the YouTube channel, were Mignon Cam, the Walamala, and Tim Frey. Also want to appreciate C Nurse K, the Food Plane, Frequency of Air Promotions, Fitness IQ Cam, Ray McMillan, Derek, JJ Mars, and Nathaniel. So thank you all for making a contribution. So if we can take down the screen share, that would be fantastic. Also, if we could get up, just also before we shut it down today, the contact information of the organization, fantastic. And people are giving, like, lots of people giving 5s for the conversation today. So fantastic. C Nurse K says, it's truly admirable, Anick, that you are not just talking about food security, but you are taking action. I will donate and would love to volunteer down the road.
I appreciate that. See, we get a win. We get another win.
Another win.
Thank you.
Another win. Another
Yes.
win.
Yes.
Fantastic. All right. So I'm going to just say to everyone, thank you so much for coming into the conversation live on the replay. It's appreciated and not taken for granted. A few house cleaning things before we sign off today. As always, subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Substack. Join the Morning Vibe Discord group. You can email me at dr.vibe at the dr.vibeshow.com, or you can click on the link that you see on the screen, or it's in your comments. Advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I'm a part of. Email me. And always we have contact information. So there's Ryan's contact information, RyanOneilKnight.com. That's Knight with a K-N, not an N. LinkedIn, Ryan Oneil Knight. Instagram, Ryan.notknight.knight 99. Email, work with me, RyanOneilKnight.com. Also, for me, website, the drvibeshow.com, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and LinkedIn, The Dr. Vibe Show, Instagram at The Dr. Vibe Show, X, drvibeshow, and then email, given that like 10 times already today. On Substack, you can catch me at drvibe.substack.com/subscribe. Blue Sky at drvibe.bsky.social. And you can watch replays of this epic conversation on the Dr. Vibe Show, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Afro Caribbean Business Network, and Ryan Oneil Knight on YouTube. So everyone, tomorrow, primetime Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern, Black Canada Talking, 5 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, and Black Men Can Talk Sunday night at 8 p.m. And then Monday, Carolyn Nicole is back in the house. So as always, I'd like to say, live your life as a dream. Oh, we have one more comment. Don't want to leave it out. Don't want to leave it out. C Nurse K, phenomenal job once again, producer Matt. Oh, there we go. All right, so live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. And if you're not making money, make history. Try to do both. And as always, make it better. Thank you again, producer Matt. God bless. Peace well. Keep the faith. Walk good. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
This whole thing of using your business with plant-based products, don't you think your life should reflect that too?
Juke him, Carolyn. Juke him. The family loves us here because they're saying Fitness IQ Can says put a wig on to get in.
Oh God. Oh my God.
Like the ideas are just coming fast and furious here this morning. What? Okay, look at this. Global Women Ambassador. Good morning. Look forward. Okay.